Hi guys, Ralph here, Noizebusters. This video I show you now is kind of taking apart a track of mine from my Psytrance project Braincell, and it will show you some tips and tricks and how I achieve some of my goals. And this video is actually taken from my masterclass which I did for Rapidflow.shop. If you want to check out the whole thing, I have a link in the description, so check it out if you like, and have fun. If there are any questions, just write me in the comments, send me a message. Enjoy. So what you can see here is one of my latest tracks, Muddy Wizard, and maybe have a listen first before we dive in. So that's the track.
Reset on the fluid. Hold tight, the earth's gonna shake a bit. Here we go!
So I think that's enough, just to give you an idea what kind of track it is. So we go kick and bass first. And as I work only with the kick and bass in the moment, I switch only that group to solo, and I go into this button and say kick and bass, so we only can focus on that two elements. So first of all, the kick is made by kick 2. I think, I don't have to explain the whole process because there are very good presets out there. And one simple thing to mention, I look to the length on the pitch, about 250, 260, and the amp, same thing. And then I shape that amp volume like a fish, and you you can do thousands variations on this. I mean, let's see. Just this curve makes a huge difference to the impact of the sound. But if you keep on with kind of that shape, you should be fine. And for the bass, what I used here is a sampled instrument. I think it was from a virus. But and then a little bit of compression and EQ. There's not a fancy thing going on here. And that's in general. If I look to the project, you see I haven't done a lot of tracks. What I try to do is that the source sound which comes in for the project is as good as possible. So I don't have hundreds of tracks. And anyway, I get confused if I have over 120 tracks. So I keep stuff simple, or I try to keep stuff simple. Just my kind of workflow. And here we go with the bass. So that's a sampled one with a bit of EQ and compression. The source, as said just now, is that sampled bass is already processed with different stuff. So that's why it sounds like this already, and I don't need much to do after. But for all who want to know, I can do another one just to let you know how I can do a bass line. So switch that off, make a clip. Where was it? I think it was E. No, D sharp. That's one thing in Bitwig I don't like, actually. Ha! I found one. If I go into the editor, the grid, offset, and events are switched on, so you can easily move stuff around, but you can also run into a little bit troubles if you have zoomed out and moved stuff in, that it's not on the grid as it should be. What I like to use often is the polygrid, where I made a bass machine. And what you see here is an oscillator, so it goes into a filter, then this envelope is controlling the volume, and this envelope is controlling the filter. Also, you see here the velocity is coming in, and I put it to a modulator out, and then I'm controlling the volume from the mixer. Then if you do this, you can then adjust the groove of the bass line with the velocity. And why I use the segments, because it's a little bit more flexible than the ADSR. for the filter so it can shape the sound a bit better. That's why the segment is a very cool envelope to use for filtering your bass sounds. And that's basically it. I mean, there's not much in there, but I think it makes a nice bass, and it's very flexible because you have control over every parameter of the sound. And the other one I really like is Phase 4. Phase 4 is it's not an what to say, maybe it's a phase modulation synthesizer. It has four oscillators, and I use 2 of them for achieving that bass sound. Here we go. And there's not much magic here as well. There are 2 oscillators with a sawtooth, and then the filter is adjusting the sound of the bass with a filter envelope. What you also can do here, you have filter modulation, where you see the red dot and the blue dot and the yellow dot and purple one, which is basically for all the oscillators. And if you switch that one a bit to the negative side, you kind of get different characters if needed. And if you want a clean one, I think that's the preset, which is sounding quite nice for that track, or for Psytrance in general. For sure, there's just to mention what I have here as well. It's a basic shaping here as well, like a little bit of a low cut around 35 to 40, and a small amount of compression to make stuff stable. And I use the transistor saturation on the output and a clue setting from the compressor plus to achieve the goal. And for sure I could, let's may take Saturn. I save it as a basic preset so I can shape it as needed for the track itself. But if I want to, I could use a saturation here and play around with the attack sound, and shape it to where I want. So I delete it again so we can stay focused on the track. So that was kick and bass, and from the processing on the bass I don't have much. I just use a filter for automation like in the beginning, and I have an oscilloscope to check the phase if everything is alright and not moving much and destroying anything, and it sounds right on the speakers. So that was kick and bass. Let's toggle on the drums. What I do here is I use sometimes loops and then cut out stuff, or using bit crushers to achieve a specific sound. Let's see. And this I put underneath the other grooves, so it fills out the gaps. And I've even another one here. Sometimes I'm also doing this with instruments or from my machines, and then instead of using a loop, depends on the track or the idea just come in mind. Because that's kind of a hi-hat thing. Normally I do this on my own, playing it. On me, I'm using samples, but it's still, still a track I did. So who doesn't, And it's not like, don't use loops, do everything on your own. There are so much nice samples and loops out there. Why not using it? And just shape it into that direction, how you like it and how you need it. And then you should be fine. Sorry. So let's focus on this loop here. And we go into that snare. The snare is actually only 1 bar long, but as you can hear, I zoom a bit more in here. And that's why I love operators, because I can use a small loop, but I can do different variations on every run. So as you can see here in the operator thing, that when I switch different notes, they're coming on different timings. So this one only comes on the fourth go through with on the loop. The other one are coming all the time. Oh, this one not. Also on the fourth. That one plays every time. That's the main. That's the main snare. And just the variations, or as I say, the ghost notes from the groove are coming on different run-throughs. And that one is a reversed snare. So I use like 1, 2, sometimes 3 snares and then try to make a different groove out of it, not only one specific. So it's getting a bit more interesting, and I think it works nicely here. And from the drum processing, I have a clipper here to tame down some of the big transients, because snares can be really harsh in the mix or can destroy your dynamic in the mix. And as you can see here, that's the drum bass here. If I switch the clipper off, the dynamic range or the peaks are much higher. So if I go here and even I could destroy it if I turn down the ceiling. Sometimes it even sounds nice because it gives like kind of a crush and dirtiness to the sound. But it's quite squashed now. So, but you see, the peaks are not going much higher than the better control on it. And then for sure I could compress the whole thing. But as I try to keep stuff simple, sometimes I even don't use much effects on buses. If it sounds good, it should sound good for the audience. So if I feel the sound is alright, why I should change it with anything else and like put different stuff on top, and may destroy the sound in the end. But let's try it. I'll take the clue. Slow attack, fast release, maybe. Ratio higher. And what's nice here on the compressor plus is this makeup learn. If I press this, it calculates, takes a while. So it adjusts the makeup gain. And I mean, I really squash it now. And what's nice on this one, but as this I show already on the other videos, so you can change the intensity of the compression on different bands. And adjust the timing. If I go it catches more transients on that specific band. But as said, I don't think it really needs a compression. Maybe for you out there which are using a bit more other plugins, like the SSL Clue. I really like that townhouse compression bus compressor. Sounds nice, but I don't go over 4 dB of gain reduction to keep stuff smooth. Otherwise, you would destroy your sound. So next is one thing. You see that my crashes are not in the drum bass because I sometimes want to have specific control. and I don't want to squash them if I use a compressor, and that's why I keep them outside. But that depends also on the track. Sometimes they are inside, so there are no rules for me for this. So next, I think we leave the effects sounds, which are basically just transitions. Or yeah, why not? We start here. You see, what I do a lot, and I do this in a lot of my productions, that I use stretchings. I stretch audio to achieve a specific sound. For example, this sound here. That's a very stretched version of the original. If I switch this to raw, that's the original sound. Nice chord. But what I used here is the cyclic mode, and then stretched the hell out of it. And then with the formants here and the grain size, I adjust the pitch of the stretched audio. That way I can pitch every sample I stretch into the key of the track again. And I love this cyclic mode. It's absolutely wicked. So what we have here is that's actually not much processed. This is a sound where I recorded from the Arturia C set ambulation, because I had a chat with James Monroe, and I wanted to make a remix of one of their first tracks, which was called Pyramid. And there are these really nice sounds in there, like this speaking squelches. Kind of, not the same. But he told me once, that's the C set, and back in the days, blah blah blah. So kind of came home, and then I tried it with the C set, and it's really fun. Synth, actually, I'm not sure if it's still open. Yeah, it is. Cool. So there are funny stuff going on here. You have it's quite basic, actually. You have a timbre, and from the waveform you can put in, and I think it's 2 oscillators, and then you do a lot of modulation envelopes, and as you can see also here, that's the synth is still on the track, but bounced audio is also on the track, which means this is a hybrid track, which can contain the MIDI node here, That's a different sound now. But that was the note I recorded and then bounced it out, and this was the result. And also from the effects, I already put the effects on top and then bounced it out, so I don't have any sends or things on the channel. It's just a basic. There's not even an EQ. I think the EQ is already in the bounce as well. And then we have another one here. Let's see what that is. I think that was actually. Stop it. I think that's that sound as well from the C set. That's the sound I bounced down into audio and then used Echo Boat, which is one of my favorite plugins. I'll show you why. It's a combination of a pitch shifter, has a delay, and what I did here is I automated the frequency shift amount and sorry, the pitch bend is still from the instrument itself, so we switched that back. Oops, did I delete it? I deleted. Here we go. And then the frequency shifter pitches the sample up with a very long feedback. So that's how I made that sound. And there's no bass mixing setting here. I mean, there's no effects on the group. What I could do in the end is using an EQ for low cutting stuff. But as you can see, the bounces are already mixed, so not necessary in this case. Then we go into the voices, or the vocals, or the voice samples, or speaking, whatever you want to call it. What's up here? Same thing. That's a sample from a Rick and Morty movie. If I switch this sample back to its original raw. Oh shit. So the same thing like with the chord, I actually stretched it out with the cyclic mode and then repitched the whole thing. That is texture in the background gets into the key of the track. This woo, that's in the key of the. And I think, no, I didn't even stretch it different, or the onsets maybe. No, I didn't do anything. It was just a stretching of the sample to adjust it to the song. And what I did here,
basically just a hard reset on the fluid. Hold tight, the earth's gonna shake a bit.
this you see, when I that's one thing in Bitwig. If I choose one, then you can see the tracks beside as well. So if I zoom out, I can see now all the cuts I did from that sample.
Basically just a hard reset on the fluid. Hold tight, the earth's gonna shake a bit.
Same thing here with the stretching, the cyclic, just different settings. And then with this one, which I used for the break,
Here we go!
also cyclic mode, pitched, but then I take the pitch and put it up. I think it's 24, not even more. Like, go crazy with the pitch here.
Here we go!
And I think I did some, yeah, here I put some delay on the channel and then automated the mix at the end. Yeah, that's it. You know, I love stretching audios, and you can create so much different textures and different sounds out of it. It's incredible, and it's limitless. And, you know, together with some effects and some, you know, even I could put here some phase of flanger or whatever, and then bounce it down and stretch this one, so you the flanger effect is on the audio file and will be stretched with it. Also cool sound design idea. So let's dive into the story, as I call it. And also here, I made different recordings from different synths, like the peak or the, not the Nord lead, but it's the VST version. Still one of my favorites. We used it back in the days with the Rust Aliens project, and we do it again. So still, Nord lead rocks, and it's very easy to make cool sounds out of it. So let's see what I did here. What's that? That's Pigments. Basic, simple sound. That's the Nord. is what I do often. I switch that plugins off so you can hear better. With that sound, that's the source sound. Then I put this Kush preamp on top. And what this does is a bit like a clipper. It also reduces the peak level, but the pressure of the sound, the RMS level, kind of pushes up. So it's more stable in the mix, and you don't have troubles with peak sounds. Either I use this one, which is specially made for this, or I use this one for fattening up the sound. Just to get more crit and distortion a bit on the sound. Then, of course, EQ. And I do the preamp thing before going into the EQ. And then, after this, a bit of compression. Or quite a lot of compression. Yeah. Fast tech, kind of fast release to kind of tame down the transient of the sound, and then going into a delay. Cool. Then what else we have here? Another discovery. Typical squelch sound. Where basically there's an LFO here which controls the pitch of the oscillators. And then playing around with the cutoff from the filter. And that's unusual. I do this. I used actually the delay from the synth. Normally, I use an external one to have more control, and also from the diffuser, I don't get really like where's the delay coming from. But I think this thing was just made. You know, the thing is when you are in the workflow. And everything comes in and works out, and then you just use this sounds cool, okay, record it. That's why it happens as well that I use effects from the synth, but normally I try to use separate effects on top. Then what we have here, I think that's an interesting one. Yeah, that's actually Serum, but a little bit different than usually. Come on. Yeah. So I actually don't use any of the oscillators. I used a drum sound on the noise section, and then use this filter here, the H6 Plus, and pitch that filter here. to the key of the track again. And then use that random stepped LFO to change the pitch of that drum. Not from the cutoff, otherwise it would go this way. Also cool, but also possible, but I wanted to keep the key intact. That's why, or it's just, no, it's just like a different effect. And the filter makes sure that the sound stays in the key. As well here, I use the effect from Zero. Whatever. You know, that's workflow, guys. It's coming in like it happens, and then you use what you have. And what I did here as well, I did some automation here. Let's see. Reso, try what? Fill the mode amount. So that pitch I change on the drum, this one changes from here. And as well, I think the cutoff, yeah. That's why that change in pitch happened here as well. Yeah, otherwise I don't use Serum as much as years ago, because as you saw on the Masterclass, I use a lot of hardware stuff now. Again. So what we have here, that's another Node lead squelch. I don't think I even used that one in the track. Nope. So move on to, what's this? Another squelch. Ah. That are some gnarly noises from my modular. And then also stretch them out to achieve that effect. And what I do sometimes, as you saw also in the other videos, that I use blur to make it more stereo, or you get the impression. And I like to do stuff like this underneath, so you have like a nice texture in the background, and it's not so dry with the other elements of the track. And here I think it's the same thing. Yeah, it's that sounds actually, that's the squelch sounds, but just reversed. And the effect is already in the audio file, which is also fun here at the end, because it can, tack, it's off, you know. And sometimes you want to have a drastic change. You could do this with automation as well, sure. And same here. These are sounds from the modular. What I sometimes try to do here is, if you recorded something like this, you can get fun stuff out with the onsets. Stretch, sorry. So, for example, maybe trying a different sound. And why I use 3, because I don't want to move the other stuff around. So if I put this one here, see, that's a lot happening if I play around with the samples. That one could work as well. And with the delay, it kind of creates a question and answer. So try this out, guys. If you have something which you have an audio, play around with the stretching inside the audio. That's a really cool thing to do, and you get, you know, stuff out of it which you would never achieve with effects. Because it's more unpredictable what happens when you stretch different sounds. So stretching is the key, guys. That's my main goal when I do tracks. What else we have? This one I recorded from the peak. Not much to do here. I think I didn't stretch anything. It's just coming from the synth directly. There's no processing here on the audio. And what else? No. There we are. Same thing. This one is an FM I recorded from the peak. Actually, peak is also kind of a wavetable synthesizer. So what I did is using some of wavetables I used in software before, and then put that into the peak and play around with the shape of that wavetable to get this FM. And also for beefing it up, I use a lot this plugin. Love it. It's just absolutely wicked. You can destroy a sound, you can make it super dirty. It's a nice quality, and you have different modes, like from Neve, Transistor, American. Yeah, and that was all the sounds I used in that track. And processing wise, there's nothing on there. Maybe I should. So let's do this. So I take a section where there's a little bit more going on. Did we miss one sound? Yeah. The flange grid. That's a funny one as well. That's the original sound I used there. The sample with a filter on top. And it's a gator built in the FX grid. And one tip, if you do that kind of sound design thing, always try or always do an equalizer after it, so you don't get frequencies clashing with your bass and kicks and low end. Also, one tip I do a lot is high cuts from around 10 kilohertz to give space to the hi-hats itself, or also not going too harsh on speakers, so it sounds a bit more warm. And I do this with drums, with everything actually. So there is another sound, I think this one. Yeah, that's I'm not sure what it was. Could be the digitone, maybe. And processing wise, there's a decapitator, quite hard, with the punish button on, so it gets really dirty. Then I compress the shit out of it with a fast attack and a fast release, so it cuts off the transients. And that's all because of it's easier to get louder masters later, because if you don't have too much peaks going up here, then it's easier. It's an even mix, and it's easier to master it later to like a nice level. And for sure, you can use limiter here and there and there. But as said before, if a sound is okay and it sounds okay to you, then it should sound all right to other people. So we wanted to try something for the bass processing. Maybe we use this part. EQ first. Get rid of some low end. Difference here. Normally I don't go into like really harsh slopes. But if I want to cut something specifically out of a range of frequency, then it can help to do it. But on basses or kick drums, I try to avoid settings like this. I go more like +6 or 6 dB or 12 dB slopes. Otherwise, you change the character of the sound too much. So let's see what we have. These are very cool compressors actually from Bettermaker. You have 3 different modes in there. I think that one is the SSL. And sometimes what I do here as well is using an imager. To widen out some sounds of it. To just like adjust the synths or the story into the right direction. You know, changing mono to stereo, widen the sound a bit. But I try, as said again before, I try to use as less plugins as possible and get the source sound right, so I don't have to mess around with hundreds of plugins.
It's just a part.
And it's basically, it's volume and EQ is the main ingredient I use for mixing. And then if it's necessary, maybe a little bit of compression here and there. I would say I stop here. But if you have any questions about music production specifically for Psytrance or anything else, just hit me up, write me an email, join my Patreon, connect with me, and I hope I could show you a bit of my insight, how I produce that kind of music. And have fun making music. See you around. Till the next class. Bye.